See, what is the process of meditation? You must understand the entire theory of it. This is actually from Yoga Sutras and from Vedantic meditation techniques. It's a sort of summary of what meditation is. See, meditation means I meditate on an object. This is what happens in meditation. You are concentrating on an object at a particular level of consciousness. Now, when you meditate, you may be aiming at knowing the subject, knowing the I, then it is called a subjective meditation. You may be aiming at knowing the object, then it is called objective meditation. Or you may just want to stabilize your mind, attain calmness of mind, then it is called a process meditation. But always, how do you meditate? I meditate on an object. Always that awareness will be there within you, that you are concentrating on a particular object whenever you meditate. Keep this background in your mind. Now, this has a definite term in Vedanta. We call it Triputi Jnana, or in English you can call it a tripartite distinction in meditation, which means there is always a meditator meditating on an object of meditation. Always there will be a subject meditating on an object. It is very difficult to get rid of this tripartite distinction even in meditation. Only when you transcend this, when you become one with the object, you will be able to attain samadhi. That is why this distinction has to be made, and based on this we have different meditation techniques. Now, look at this picture, this slide. You see, meditation can be Vedantic or yogic. These are the two main streams which are giving you the greatest meditation techniques, all possible types of meditation. In the Vedantic meditation techniques, you have subjective or objective meditation techniques. Subjective, now you know, when you want to know the subject, you see there are many people like this, they are not interested in knowing about this God or that God or whatever objective meditations. They first want to know, who am I? Main kaun hu pehle? In fact, this is the thirst within each one of you. Who am I first, who will want to know something? So, it falls under subjective meditations. There are a number of meditations which will help you track your I. They are subjective meditations. Then there are some people who are naturally inclined objectively. I want to know this particular object, I want to know this deity, I want a vision of God, I want this, I want that. So, for them objective meditations are there, and yogic meditations are mainly to do with mind, using subjective and objective techniques. How to stabilize mind, we will come to that. First let us go into subjective Vedantic meditation techniques. Very important for you to know this, जिससे मन में कोई confusion ना हो meditation के बारे में. The very first technique is Nididhyasana. The common explanation of Nididhyasana is it is a kind of Atma Vichar. Atma Vichar आपने सुना है ना? Trying to know what the Atman is, who I am truly, and the process is usually that Neti process, which means I am not the body, I am not just the mind, I am not the ego, I am not the intellect. Neti आपने सुना होगा ना? Have you heard Nirvanashtakam? YouTube में देख लीजिए, निर्वाणाष्टकम है. मनो बुद्धि अहंकार चित्तानि नाहम न च श्रोत जिह्वे न च घ्राण नेत्रे न च व्योम भूमि न तेजो न वायु चिदानंद रूप शिवोहम शिवोहम. I am not this, I am not this, I am not this. I am not the man, buddhi, ahankar. I am none of the senses. I am nothing of this body. My real nature is Chidananda Rupa, Shivoham, Shivoham. So, a number of, see, this is a kind of meditation. Through the Neti process, first you remove from your mind what you are not, and then what you are will come into your mind. So, all this comes under Nididhyasana. Okay, it is a conforming the mental mode to reality is Nididhyasana. This is actually many times Nididhyasana techniques are recommended by this Bhamati school. You may not be knowing about Bhamati. See, Advaita Vedanta has three main schools. They are called Vartika, Vivarna and Bhamati schools. This is a special meditation technique of Bhamati school, Nididhyasana. Then the Koham technique. ये आपने सुना होगा, who am I? Raman Maharshi's characteristic technique. Just by tracking, this is the greatest clue actually to the presence of the Atman, your eye sense. If you keep it unidentified, you can research into it. It will take you to its source. What creates this sense of I in us is the reality of the Atman, pure consciousness shining. At the heart of your being is that reflects in the mind and gives you this I sense. समझ में आ रहा है? देखिए आपके ऊपर ही रिसर्च हो रहा है ये. They are researching into your real identity. So this is that meditation technique. The characteristic of this technique is it is a direct method. If the mind is purified enough, if the inquiry is absolute, it will take you to your source. Just ask, who am I? Keep the I unidentified. Research into deeper and deeper the sense of, as it goes deeper and deeper, it is taking you towards your source. You will see that, and you will come to the state of pure awareness. Just the technique will lead you to that direct method, but not for all. Some people will not know how it is to be done, because usually the I of people is identified. That is the problem. The third is Shabda Aparoksh. I do not know if you have heard this. This is also a very powerful technique. It means just the utterance of Mahavakyas from the mind, I mean from the speech of the teacher, the Guru, puts the mind of the disciple into the state of Brahman. The mane aparokshanubhuti through Shabda is Shabda Aparoksh. You know what is aparokshanubhuti? The knowledge of the self, not mediated knowledge, unmediated knowledge of the self just through hearing of the Mahavakyas. Mahavakya ka matlab hai, there are some sentences in the Upanishads which just in one sentence they are giving you the actual truth about your own real nature, about the Atman and Brahman. There are 4 Mahavakyas actually. आपने सुना होगा अहम ब्रह्मास्मि, that's a Mahavakya. Tattvamasi, Chandogya Upanishad, I told you the story of that. That is a Mahavakya. Then Ayamatma Brahma, that is a Mahavakya. Prajnanam Brahma, that is a Mahavakya. Just in a very purified mind which is very keen on realization, just the hearing of this, you see, just observe one of them, like for example Aham Brahmasmi. What is it telling you? I am that Brahman. So if the I sense is very clear, concept of Brahman may not be there initially, this very I sense will lead to that. Just the hearing of the Mahavakya can produce this effect. The caliber of the student should be like that. So ये एक संभावना है, it's a possibility. इसको कहते हैं शब्द अपरोक्ष. It's a technique. Then there are vidyas. These are actually the actual Vedantic meditation techniques, upasana techniques, very important techniques. There are a number of vidyas, paradigms of Brahman, you can say, paradigms for the ultimate reality. By meditating on a vidya, it leads to a certain expansion of your awareness naturally. There are a number of vidyas. एक बार मैंने यहाँ पर आपके सेमिनार हॉल में मधु विद्या had given in a talk on yoga. Madhu Vidya is Madhuvatarithayate Madhuksharanti Sindhavah Madhvirna Santoshadhi Madhunakta Mutoshasi Madhumat Parthivagam Rajaha Madhudevrastuna Pita Madhumano Vanaspati Madhumagamastu Suryaha. The Rishi is telling everything is dripping with bliss. He is in a state where he is seeing everything, this vegetation, this sun, these winds, the oceans, the waters, the people around, everything seems to be dripping with bliss because his state of mind is like that. The state of his consciousness is so high. This is how he is seeing the world. This is a kind of vidya. In vidya, if you meditate on the experience of the Rishi, something of that you can understand. Something of the experience comes into your mind. So like this there are a number of vidyas. In fact, there is one called Dahara Vidya which is common. Actually these vidyas, we have lost touch with these vidyas. As a generation we have lost touch, but they put you into definite states of mind. Like for example, Dahar Vidya mein kya kehte hain? Imagine a lotus, like just now we meditated, I asked you to imagine a point of light in your heart. In Dahar Vidya they asked you to imagine a lotus in your heart and think of the space, an empty space within the lotus, and think of the space within the space and imagine everything to be contained in that space. Agar is par aap meditation karo, you get a sense of everything being in that Chidakash. Chidakash ka matlab hai that space where you will find consciousness. You know, there are 3 types of spaces in Vedanta. Where your body is just now living is Sthulakash, the gross space. This space only we understand. There is a Chittakash, which means mental space. Where do your thoughts live? They live in mental space. Chittakash it's called. Where does your consciousness dwell? It's in Chidakash, and that's in your heart. So this is a meditation on the heart through a symbol, a lotus. So Vidyas are like this, you know, techniques, paradigms given to you to internalize your consciousness and expand it, to capture the Vedic vision. This is what Vidya means. Like this, there are Shandilya Vidya, there is Akshara Vidya, so many types of Vidyas are there. Sometime you can go through it, it's there distributed in the Upanishads. Then after the Vidyas are Aham Grahopasana techniques. You see, the very word says what it means. Aham Graha Upasana, grasping the Aham, the I. Capturing your I. What does it mean? Tracking what the I means. So, in Aham Grahopasana techniques, many times what is done is, you are sort of identified with something. Like just now, you were identified with a point of light, isn't it? Think of yourself as a point of light in your heart. This is the light of your awareness. I said this. So, what is actually being done here? You are being identified with maybe something like light or some other object, and then that is actually tracking the real, because you do not have a sense of yourself apart from body and mind. You are given such a symbol. You identify with that symbol, like just now you identified with that point of light, and as a result what happens? It internalizes your consciousness further and further. You understand? It will take you to the real sense of I, separate from the object and separate from the body mind. So, it is grasping the real self through a definite technique. This is what Aham Grahopasana. It is actually a subjective objective meditation, Aham Grahopasana technique. Then we go to the objective techniques. Here you see meditation on Om. ये तो आपको पता है in some sense. Many people do it also. If you just keep not just chanting Om, hearing Om. ये आपने try किया है कभी? एक बार try करके देखो, the magical effect it will have on you. It's not just chanting is meant so that at some point you are able to hear it. Om is always going on. The noise in your mind doesn't allow you to hear it. What this meditation will do for you is it will stop that noise. First you start with chanting Om. When it becomes powerful, when you are absorbed in it, stop the chant, you just hear the Om, it will keep going on. Pranav hamesha chal raha hai. The clatter in our mind does not allow us to hear it. So, stop your mind by some technique. So, this is meditation on Om. Then there is Pratika Upasana. ये आपको पता है, using a symbol. You do it practically also, like Shalagram, Linga Puja, all this we do, no? Some form of symbol in order to again concentrate your mind and interiorize your awareness. All these techniques are used. Many times the sun is used as an object of meditation, and you are in Pratika Upasana you superimpose attributes on the object. Like you think of maybe if it's meditation on the sun, you think the sun is full of these attributes, infinity, full of consciousness. If it's a pratik, a kind of a shalagram or something like that, you superimpose the attributes of Shiva or Vishnu on them. Any symbol you can take and superimpose attributes. What happens due to this is the attributes get imprinted on your own mind. इसीलिए ऐसे meditations होते हैं. Then meditation on natural objects. You see, just if you think of the vast ocean or the huge Himalayas, your awareness will expand. है ना? आप यहीं पे think करके देखो, you feel a sense of, if you are very concentrated, you will feel refreshed by it. So, this is also a meditation. What you put your mind on is very important. It is actually creating a vritti form in your mind, that object, and you are being influenced by it, impacted by it. So, understand, meditation is the way to change your mind. इतने powerful techniques है. So, this is regarding Vedantic meditation. In yogic meditation, Usually what is done is, you see, it can be symbolic or non-symbolic, but yoga deals with mind, isn't it? They are using techniques to change your mind. Many times they are process meditations. Like for example, you see Rupa Dhyan. You are concentrating on some particular holy object. Why are you doing that? So that your vritti becomes of that type. Mind पर उसका deep effect होता है. Or Guna Dhyan, when you meditate on the attributes of somebody, some deity. Vishnu has these, that's why we have hymnology, you see, so many hymns we have. Why? They are asking you to meditate on the attributes of God. He is such and such, He is all loving, He is all powerful, His nature is such, His beauty is such. Why all this given to you? It will impact your mind. So Guna Dhyan is there, Leela Dhyan is there. Leela Dhyan आपको पता है? Thinking of the life of great people, like if you meditate on the life of a person like Sri Ramakrishna or Swami Vivekananda, those attributes will find place in your mind. Instead of doing just Vedanta Charcha, you read the life of Sri Ramakrishna and see, हम जो चर्चा कर रहे हैं, what we are talking about, practical effect it has come in his life. I can give you one incident here. See, once we are talking of expansion of awareness, unity of existence and all this, na? Once what happened, Sri Ramakrishna was standing in his room. In Dakshineshwar में वो रहते थे, आपको पता है? वहाँ he was just standing in his room. He was in a very high state of samadhi, and on the Ganga, just beside the temple garden is Ganga there. There a boatman slapped another boatman on the back. The two were quarreling and he slapped him, and the imprint of that slap fell on Sri Ramakrishna's back. Why? He was identified with the whole of creation at that moment. तो ये जो हम वेदांत चर्चा कर रहे हैं, the practical effect you will find in the lives of these great ones. So if you do Leela Dhyan, you will grasp the idea very well. Think of the life of great ones. मैंने एक क्लास में आपको बोला था ना, you must make it a habit to read the lives of great people. That's the most inspirational literature you will get. It will just impact your mind, especially at this age. So Leela Dhyan is important. And then you have Pratima Dhyan. Pratima Dhyan, of course, you know, meditating on idol or images. That this also, you see, by doing all this, what it is a kind of Rupa Dhyan only. By doing all this, again, you are ushering a holy thought into your mind. Naam Jap. Agar aap, you think of the name of God, repeat it in your mind. It will clear your consciousness like anything. Do it and see, these are all practical techniques. Name of God has that power. ये कोई esoteric technique नहीं है. So much of power is already associated with that name. See now, just now if I call you by your name, how you immediately respond? If I call somebody a donkey, immediately what is the response? Names matter. They impact your mind like that. Now the name of God is supremely powerful. If you just chant the name of God, it clears your consciousness like anything. Do it and see and you will understand the effect. Non-symbolic forms of meditation also are there. Nirakar Dhyan जो हम कहते हैं. Again, it is almost similar to Vedantic meditations. Mainly in yoga, they will concentrate on what are called system meditations, which means the nature of your mind has to change. Subjective, objective technique it may not be, but the system of meditation, the meditating mind, the focus will be on that. This I am just giving you Vedantic and yogic techniques. There are very many more techniques. You must have heard of Vipassana. In Buddhist meditation, there are so many more techniques. Some techniques only focus on expanding awareness, some on culturing awareness, some on extracting awareness from the thought process, some on heightening awareness at any rate. All this also leads to that. What I am trying to tell you is there are innumerable techniques. Pick up that which you can relate to immediately and it will work for you. What appears real to you, what captures your mind is your path. Take up any one, कितने सारे techniques है आप देखिए, and you can change your mind through these techniques. That mind you apply to anything, you will be successful there.